Buenos días y buenos días y bienvenidos a todos. Good morning and welcome, everyone. Good morning to all that are joining us for the first time or perhaps for multiple times. Welcome to a community that dedicates our time and spiritual tools for living a happy and healthy life. My name is Karina Scheer, and I'm the spiritual director and founding minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta. If you would like to join us for the live Zoom meeting, please contact me for the password and the link, or check our website, www.cslpv.org. And you'll find the link on both the landing page as well as the weekly talk section. So today is Sunday, March 10th, 2024. And the topic for this month we are continuing is That's How We've Never Done It. And the topic for this week is Up Until Now. So at this time, I'd like to truly welcome everyone once again, including those that are new to our teaching and to our center here in Puerto Vallarta. Whether you're on the live Zoom call or watching the replay at a later date, here we teach a philosophy that honors all faiths, all paths, all traditions. So please know that whatever path you are on, it is the right one for you. And so, as I mentioned, we teach a philosophy, and it's called the Science of Mind. It's a teaching based on new thought and ancient wisdom. We offer spiritual tools and principles to promote personal growth. And we honor diversity in all aspects so that we can see and appreciate the great oneness that already exists everywhere and within everyone. When Dr. Ernest Holmes was asked to provide a concise definition of this teaching, he had replied that it is a correlation of laws of science, opinions of philosophy, and revelations of religion applied to human needs and aspirations. And each week, we offer an inspirational message. And we also meet in person at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So whether you're here on Zoom or coming in person later, please hang out after so that we can have some great discussions with like-minded people. So each week, we like to start with news and updates. If you're interested in learning more about the science of my teaching, we will be starting a new foundations class via Zoom and in person. So it'll be a combination of the two. And more information on that will be added to our website. So look for the details or contact me for further information. And if there's another class or course or book study that you would be interested in taking, please let me know as well so we can plan for that on our calendar. And if you would like to have a one-on-one connection for a spiritual mind treatment, then please connect with me so we can arrange for that as well. I'd also like to remind you to like and subscribe to our YouTube page and our Facebook page. And if you're interested in becoming a member with the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta for this current year, then please connect with me for the form, as each year we renew our memberships. And we will be having our AGM coming up in April. So watch for details on that as well. And note that you must be a member in order to vote. So now let's review our purpose, vision, and mission statements as we do each week. We have a grand purpose here each week, and that is to awaken and celebrate diversity and to love and serve our community. We do this by means of our vision, creating the life you desire. And this is supported by our mission to provide spiritual tools for personal growth and transformation. And more on these can be found in detail on our webpage once again. So it's time to acknowledge our past, the good, the bad, and even the ugly, while disentangling ourselves from it. It's time to forgive ourselves and others and release old patterns that may no longer serve us, even those that used to work well. Let's replace our old, I've always, fill in the blank, with a new script. Let's substitute it with up until now. So up until now, my experience has been fill in the blank. But now I choose and fill in the blank with something better. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of all suffering. When we honor our past and learn from it without attachment or resistance, we can then move freely into a better future. Ernest Holmes said this: as we have proven that principle is not bound by precedent, we go into that realm which says, behold, I make all things new, not carrying with us the limited belief of the reason why it cannot be. So I find it quite ironic that last night was the time change, spring ahead to daylight savings time. And yes, we've always done it in the past, but really, are we actually saving any more time? There's still 24 hours in a day. And maybe it's time for another kind of change. Ernest Holmes said, principle is not bound by precedent. And that's become a science of mind catchphrase that still serves us well. Though maybe it's time that we update our language. When we lean into these truths, then we open up to new possibilities and accept a bigger, fuller, more joyful, and abundant life. As divine human beings, we're equipped with egos, but we're much more than our egos. Our ego protects us by carefully logging all our past experiences, judging them as positive or negative, and establishing beliefs and behaviors based on that information in order to help us to safely navigate our present world. And we can thank our ego. Survival is good, while still reminding ourselves and our ego that it's not only a tool, that it's only a tool and not our identity. Well, philosopher George Santayana said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. We don't have to remain prisoners to our past. We can acknowledge the past with these three simple words: up until now, and claim a better experience for good for ourselves today. In The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes wrote this: we all have the ability to transcend previous experiences and rise triumphant above them, but we shall never triumph over them while we persist in going through the old mental reactions. So have you ever heard yourself saying something like, I've always, and fill in the blank? This keeps us prisoners of the past, retelling the old story, focused on then when we should be focusing and investigating a new now. I've always is an invitation to stay comfortable in our discomfort, stuck in a rut. This rut is also sometimes referred to as a fur-lined rut. It's cozy and it's safe and it's a comfortable place, but it's like being in a hammock. Once you get in it, it's challenging to get out. Or when we drive on the same route from our home to our work every day, and once we arrive at our destination, we don't even remember the drive because we were on autopilot, unconsciously moving from point A to point B. And we miss out on so many opportunities that we weren't even aware of because we were so stuck on doing things the same way as we always have. And it doesn't have to be that way. It takes courage and a willingness to stay conscious, to disentangle ourselves from old patterns and open up to a new, larger perspective. Science of Mind teaches us to identify the issue we'd like to change and then turn our attention away from it toward that which we do wish to experience. By consciously implanting this new idea, we dissolve our old habit of thought and make room for new possibility. Again, in Living the Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes wrote this: "We are all carrying the negative experiences of our past into the future, merely because we have not disconnected them from our minds. If we are creating a negative future, it's because we have not changed our thought about it." So stay curious. Our minds, or more specifically, our ego, works over time, cataloging and categorizing our outer world for us, building habits of thought that continue to rub subconsciously until we choose to investigate them. It's like having programs running in the background of our computers that we weren't even aware of. At best, these habits and thoughts contribute toward our comfort and survival. But at worst, they fit us with blinders, limiting our view to narrow confines of our past experiences. It's like your mind is performing an if-then flowchart. If this condition occurs, then this is the consequence. If we don't like the consequences, we need to change the original condition or our thoughts. We can choose to think a different thought. We can expand that field of view with questions like, what if? And can I imagine or consider the possibilities? So the most impactful human inventions and discoveries have been born out of curiosity. And the most creative individuals in every field have not only been willing to think outside the box, but have celebrated every mistake, every setback, and every dead end along their journeys, grateful for the gifts of information and insight that they received. When we relax into the truth that we are safe in spirit, even as we explore new territory, then we can let go of our fear of making mistakes. The courage to be curious inspires us to step out of our old limits and embrace new and a larger now. Mary O'Malley said this: "True alchemy is about transforming unconsciousness into consciousness. Curiosity is where the magic happens." So author A. Halwa, in her book Secrets of Divine Love, shared this story. One day, a man opened his lunch bag at work and complained, "Another cheese sandwich. I'm so sick of these cheese sandwiches." The next day, again, he opened his lunchbox and said, "Cheese sandwich again? I'm going to die from these cheese sandwiches." Then the following day, yet again, he opened his box or his lunch bag, and lo and behold, he said, "Cheese sandwich. I hate cheese sandwiches. Oh, why, God? Why is it always a cheese sandwich?" Finally, one of his coworkers said, "Why don't you tell your wife that you don't like cheese sandwiches?" To which the man replied, "I don't have a wife." His coworker confusedly asked, "Well, then who makes these sandwiches for you?" And the man replied, "Well, I do." So how often do we complain about patterns in our life that we weave with our own hands rather than care for ourselves? So we've talked about old negative stuff that needs releasing, but everything said also applies to old positives as well. Creation is not static. Energy constantly flows into new forms and out again. Sometimes we are attached to new things, new ideas, processes, relationships, rules, etc., that are changing or dissolving from underneath us. A business is sold, a job is reconfigured or eliminated, a favorite food is no longer physically tolerated. So then we learn to adapt. All of these changes can be either good or bad, depending on how we think about it. But change is necessary. It's what we do to adapt to these changes. And we've experienced a lot of changes over the past few years. A pandemic pushed us into different patterns of interaction with other people. And many people are still working remotely and maintaining their spiritual connections online. The old ways work okay until they don't. The current new ways of doing things will, in their own time, be replaced. So remember that it's okay to grieve what no longer is. Grief is the natural human response to any change, and we need to be kind to ourselves through this process of change. Then we must release our attachment to our old ways of doing things and step into new possibilities. Yogananda said this: "Through the power of deep concentration, trained attention, any habit may be installed. That is, new patterns may be made in the brain." So while we can be tempted to stay comfortable in our discomfort, reliving our past experiences, beliefs, and behaviors, it's time to accept Spirit's invitation to a new, unlimited possibility of the present. So let's set the intention to shine the light of consciousness into our old, less than conscious habits and ways of thinking and doing. And let's replace our old story of "I've always" with the new script of "up until now." So up until now, Mexico honored the spring ahead daylight savings time, but no more. We have changed, and it's time for others to consider change as well. So starting right now, we can honor and bless past patterns and beliefs as we gently untangle ourselves from any attachment or resistance. We can forgive what needs forgiving, the bad for the pain that it triggered, and the good for its impermanence, and ourselves for our own judgments of all of it. Today, trusting the truth of Spirit in us, as us, through us, for us, we step with courage and curiosity into a brand new now. And I'll leave you with this quote. The only difference between a rut and a grave are the dimensions. And that leads us to our affirmation for this week. I release the past and claim a higher, happier experience of life today. And that brings us to our time for giving back where we are spiritually fed. Donations are greatly received through PayPal or Tithely on our website, www.cslpv.org. And you'll find the donate buttons on both the landing page and again on the replay of the weekly talks page. And you can also still send in a paper check by addressing it to CSLPV, number 403, 2125 Birch Road, Kelowna, BC, V1Y8N1. And please join me in our offertory affirmation. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I do give eternal thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. So thank you for coming and spending this time together. And let's continue practicing peace. We can each be a force for peace and nonviolence. Our words and our actions can create ripples of peace all around us and beyond. Peaceful living includes acting with compassion, kindness, and consideration. And it also includes standing up against injustice. So may peace and love be with you. Blessings to all. Namaste.